Don't you think it's rather strange that in around 4 years of making over 250 episodes of Stu's Reviews, I've avoided discussing Apple devices in any detailed capacity, despite the fact that you regularly see me use Apple products to demonstrate with? Today's episode is going to blow your mind. Welcome back to another special episode of Stu's Reviews. Okay, I mean, the cat's probably out of the bag given the thumbnail, the video title, and the outfit I'm wearing. I worked in an Apple store for 10 years. Actually, it's probably closer to 11. But on the 10th of August 2021, I walked out of those glass doors as an employee for the final time. It's been a long, difficult, fun and unusual 10 years, and in that time the company has changed so much. When I started working there were just 317 Apple stores around the world, and there's over 500 now, which is crazy. One of the biggest pushes has been in China. There were just 2 when I started there. Now there's around 50 and counting. The design of the Apple stores has changed massively as well, starting with the original design of grey metal walls, which admittedly, although is massively iconic, being inside one for 10 years began to feel quite claustrophobic. Now, this has been superseded by the newer, airier, natural light, brighter style, which we can see in places like Regent Street in London, with indoor trees and definitely a more natural inspired theme. And I must say, the new style is far nicer than the old stuff, and whilst stood in that metal box, I was always a little envious of those newer stores with that natural light and indoor greenery. But the store isn't the only thing that's changed drastically in that 10 years as well. The uniform, in fact, it's changed an unbelievable amount of times. We started with the fan favourite that everybody remembers with the large Apple logo in the middle. For a short spell after this, we moved on to polo shirts that were a similar colour to this, but with a smaller logo in the corner like this. Now, these were my personal favourite, not too dissimilar to what we were used to, but fitted and looked a lot smarter in my opinion. Now, after this, we moved on to these unusual grey shirts for a year or so, which had this almost shiny sheen about them. This was an extremely unusual choice, as it made us almost identical to the colour of those grey walls, making us nearly invisible to customers, so it did have some positives. But after this, we moved back to the blue, cycling through about 3 of these different shades until we reached the one I'm wearing today, which, although isn't necessarily my style, is quite a nice colour. It also has a better fit than anything that came before, having taken 10 years for Apple to introduce tall sizes of uniform for the stretched out members of staff like me. Lanyards have come and gone as well. Some of you may even recognise this right the way back in the old days. I mean, they're pretty iconic. And this was the last one that I wore. Kept on coming off like this, which was bloody annoying. Come on now. Fit back on there. But I also managed to find this one in my things as well. This was an iPhone 5C one. I actually missed the 5C, it's probably one of my favourite products. Super robust, and the colours were incredible, including the Stu's Reviews Green Edition they released. But anyway, these were lanyards, fantastic things. But what's bizarre about them is the amount of times that I've been asked if this is an iPhone hanging round my neck. I mean, the thing doesn't even look like an iPhone. What it actually is a neat little way to store your business cards in the back, which meant it was a bit annoying when they decided to get rid of them, meaning I had to shove the business cards somewhere in my pockets, getting all dirty and scrumpled up, so not ideal. But we didn't have lanyards for then about 5 years or so, until someone realised that it was probably a good idea to bring them back when everyone started wearing masks during the early days of the pandemic. Hold on a minute. So we had these ones, which is the style that you can see today with your own Memoji and a few choices of poses for that Memoji. The problem with mine is that Apple doesn't seem to be very inclusive to semi-balding haircuts. You can either be full bald or nearly full bald or just receding on the sides. None of these which seem to fit my hairline. I'm somewhere in between. So instead I had to put a hat on. But I still can't nail the look perfectly with my Memoji. If you have an Apple device and you want to try creating me a Memoji, tag me over on Twitter with it. We'll see if you can do a better job than me. Making this video has made me feel slightly better about my hairline. Looking at the photo of me from my very first few months to me in my last few months, there's not much change in that hairline. Although, there's quite a few other changes that tell the tale of time, such as the grey in my beard and the furrows in my brow. It's been stressful. Now, a lot of these uniform and store changes has been driven by the various senior vice presidents of retail bringing their own signature styles to the table. And in the time I've been there, I've seen 4, starting with the creator of the Apple Store journey, Ron Johnson. We then had 6 months of nightmare-fueled fun under John Browett before moving on to Angela. Now, this was certainly interesting as her focus was very much about community and creating the store into kind of a central hub for socialising and learning. And you can see that from the design and all the kind of stuff she was doing with the creative team. Now, Deirdre is the latest SVP of retail after Angela, who took over just before COVID hit. So she's had an extremely tough time trying to make her own mark on the Apple Store journey. But talking about the products, now that has changed ridiculously. And I couldn't possibly summarise all of the changes that has happened over 10 years. But when I started, we still sold devices like this, the old plastic white matte box. The Apple Watch didn't exist at that point, and we still had a full lineup of iPods. In fact, one of those iPods could be considered one of the very early predecessors to the Apple Watch, the iPod Nano, which you could buy little straps for. I don't know if anyone remembers that. But there's so much I would love to tell you about working for Apple, but the truth is, there's a hell of a lot I probably can't even talk about, and I'll likely be tiptoeing around this minefield for many years to come. Or at least until my book has been published anyway. But on the other hand, there is a lot I can say, and I want to start by showing you something that you can only get if you've worked for Apple for 10 years. Now, I actually filmed this next bit last December after I received it in preparation for when I did leave and make, eventually, this episode. I've literally no idea what to say, really, because this is 10 years in the making. So I'm almost probably not going to say very much at all during this. I'm going to put some white gloves on as well, because I believe that it deserves some white glove treatment. "10 years. Congratulations on reaching this milestone moment. The work you've done, the challenges you've met, and breakthroughs that you've made possible. They all add up to a profound and lasting contribution to Apple's mission to change the world for the better. On behalf of everyone at Apple, thank you for all you bring to our journey together. Little cloth there. Look at that. Ooh. Your 10-year award is made from the same 6000 series aluminium that we use to make our products. Remnants from the production process are collected and reformulated to create 100% recycled custom alloy. The alloy is cast into long ingots, then each ingot is sliced into blocks that are machined to the finished size. The surface is fine blasted and the edges are diamond cut. The block is then anodized to seal the finish and create a protective layer. And finally, stainless steel Apple logo is set into the center. Well, look at that. 10 years there. There we are, Stu Thomas. December the 4th, 2020. What have we got on this side? Nothing again. This is a cold block of aluminium. You can see my fingers leaving a bit of a condensation imprint on there. Then on the back, nothing on the back there or the top. We've got a bit of a soft pad on the bottom there so it can stand up like that. "10 years it's taken me to get this. 10 years. 10 years. A lot has happened in 10 years. And this summarises it. The funny thing is, this award has been sat just out of your eyesight since I got it. Have a look. And that's not the only thing I've been hiding. For absolutely ages, I've been dropping hints and Easter eggs in videos, telling you this huge secret. Take a look at my episode on Zep app, for example, nearly a year ago. In the video, a bunch of links appear. Take a look at only the capitalised letters of those links. Look what it spells. This isn't the only Easter egg, of course. There's more. A lot more. From Apple logos flashing up on my shirt for a frame or two, song selections on product demos being used in Apple adverts. There's even a hidden message in some thumbnails. Take a look at this one from my CES coverage. That under there is Morse code, and when translated, says Apple Store. If you feel like a challenge, why not go back and try and find some of the Easter eggs and drop a comment below with the link to the video, what the Easter egg is and the time code that you can find it at. I tell you what, let's make this interesting. The first person to list in their comment below every single Easter egg I've hidden, I'll buy you an iPhone of your choice. But I'm 99% certain you won't find them all. But still, there's always a chance. In all this time, I think there's only ever been one person who has ever guessed that I work for Apple, but not because of the Easter eggs I've hidden, simply because of the lack of Apple reviews on the channel and the fact that I've used Apple products many, many times in the episodes without mentioning them. Also, I know a few of you have actually bumped into me in an Apple store by chance as well. And all I can say is thank you to everyone who knew this and kept it a secret whilst I still worked there. You know who you are, so please drop a hello in the comments below. So, There's probably a bunch of burning questions that you guys have right now, and I'd love to open it up to you. Drop any questions that you might have in the comments, or if you want me to make a particular video about a particular product or Apple related thing, again, please drop that below and I'll try and answer as many as I can without landing myself in an expensive lawsuit. But with that said, I can already guess the biggest and most common questions that you guys might have, and perhaps some concerns. The burning concern number one is probably, is Stu's Reviews going to have a heavy focus on Apple technology moving forward? The answer is no, absolutely not. You will still get the huge variety of tech on the channel that you get right now, and that's because I enjoy all forms of tech, as do you, who are subscribed for that. I think that by having a wide and balanced view of the industry, I can give you guys as much of an unbiased opinion and view on tech as I possibly can. But over the next few months, I will absolutely be doing videos on Apple products. I'll answer your questions and I'll share my perspective from my background with the company, which I hope you'll find as interesting as anything else on the channel, and possibly even give you a perspective that you've not had from a content creator before. I mean, there can't be many tech YouTubers who've worked for Apple for this long, right? Now, burning question or burning concern number two, I've worked for Apple for 10 years. Am I a fanboy? No. Like any other review from me, I will always have a balanced opinion on both the good and the bad. I'll be saying it simply as it is. And believe me, over the next few months, I've got a lot to say. There's plenty of products that Apple have made that I think are absolutely incredible. And one of my first Apple product episodes will be covering one of my favourite releases that they've ever done. But that doesn't mean I've agreed on everything they've brought out. In fact, some of the things that we've released, I've been quite disappointed in, and I'll be discussing these in future episodes, so please stay tuned. But the thing is, I'll be able to draw on a very unique experience and insight, both good and bad, from a 10-year history that you won't have seen before. So if anything, it's going to add to the content I make rather than subtract from it. I mean, you know, I think products like the Galaxy Fold, for example, is utterly incredible and one of the most awesome pieces of tech available right now. But what I haven't been able to do up until now is make comparisons and even talk about Apple's approach, or lack thereof, in creating a competing device. So overall, I'm super excited to share my thoughts with you on various pieces of Apple tech, and I hope you're going to love these episodes as much as you love the rest of them. In future episodes, I might place this Apple Award somewhere in the backdrop. It's a fantastic coincidence that it looks very similar to the 100k subscriber award you get from YouTube, so I'll save a space next to it for when I hit that milestone as well. So please, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, help me fulfill this goal and make sure that you're subscribed. Help me fill the shelf as well. The only issue is, it might make me look a bit like a fanboy for those that don't know what it is and why I've got it. I'll have to think on that one. But talking about subscribers, I kind of wanted to start wrapping up this episode here by saying a massive thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of my subscribers who've watched my content over the years, who've subscribed, who've liked. Little did you know that you are helping me transition from working for Apple into doing YouTube full time. And we're coming up to nearly 10 million views, which is just insane. Talk about imposter syndrome. But thank you for all the support you guys have given me, and thank you for everything you do for Stu's Reviews. Every thumbs up, every share, every notification bell pressed. I wouldn't be here without you, and Stu's Reviews wouldn't be here without you. And lastly, to my ex-colleagues. Now, this is important, because I know you're watching this. Only a small one, because it is 3:20 on a Sunday. Thank you for putting up with me for 10 years. That is good whiskey. If you're excited about seeing more of my Apple opinions, hit that like and make sure that you subscribed with that notification bell on. I should be releasing the first of my Apple reviews imminently, so stay tuned. And I'll see you back for another episode of Stu's Reviews soon. Hold on. There is one more thing. Do you think those Easter eggs have been the only Easter eggs I've been hiding in my episodes?